Welcome everybody to this edition of Kevin's Commentary, and we have a very, very special guest with us this week, head wrestling coach Mark Branch, a guy who's transformed Cowboy wrestling into something very special. And I guess the first question I have for you, Mark, is your background at Oklahoma, obviously tremendous for the sport of wrestling, and I want to know what made wrestling so big in Oklahoma. It seems like it's kind of the hotbed of the sport. And what did you bring from that down there to Wyoming to make Wyoming the program it is now?
Well, you know, the roots of wrestling run real deep in Oklahoma, and they were producing Olympic champions back in the 30s, and so I grew up an Oklahoma State rabid fan and got into wrestling at a young age. And then obviously as I was a kid, they were one of the top programs in the country, and admired them, watched them, and dreamt of wrestling in college one day, and hopefully for Oklahoma State. So those you know, that tradition was rich and went back way before my time, so it had already established itself by the time I was up and running around trying to shoot double legs. But you know, I think the common things between Oklahoma and Wyoming is the guys that seemed like my idols and my heroes growing up were just hard-nosed blue-collar guys. I mean, they were guys that grew up in farms and ranches and towns like Perry, Oklahoma, and you know, small farming towns, and so, you know, just really I think understood the toughness that the sport demanded. And so that's something that we've really tried to capture here, and we captured in our recruiting a lot. I mean, we look for those hard-nosed kids, those blue-collar kids, the kids that know how to work hard and have those qualities, and we try to instill that Cowboy tough attitude in our team.
So then, I know there was schools after you as a head coach, and you saw that in Wyoming early on, something special there?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, I came from a town of about 1,200 people, and very small school, graduated with 45 people in my graduating class. And then when I moved to Stillwater, Oklahoma, I would say Stillwater was about 35,000 people when I moved there in 1992. And I felt like I was going from a little farm town to New York City. I mean, I didn't know my way around Stillwater. I was really intimidated by the size of a 35,000 you know, person town. So when I moved here, it instantly reminded me of Stillwater when I went to school there, and you know, you go around, you know, there's a lot of rural towns and a lot of farm and ranchers around here, and so it was instantly comfortable. And I remember my first day here on our interview, and my wife was here as well, and she went around visiting, looking at real estate and stuff, and we met back up at lunch, and she said, "Man, I love it here." And now, of course, it was in July, and they didn't interview me here in December, or January, or February. That's for sure.
They were thinking.
Yeah, but she said, "You know, I love it here," and I think there was just a comfort, and it felt close to home. And we knew we were moving a long ways away, but it felt close to home, and it felt familiar. And I think the people, the biggest thing that we raved about for a long time, even before we really got settled in here, was just how nice the people were, and how respectful the people were, and how the place that we grew up, and she grew up in a small town as well, but the places that we grew up, you could find them around every corner here, and so it felt right, and it definitely felt like it was my destiny to be here, and so it's been a very comfortable experience, and I felt like we fit in as a family very well here. So it obviously makes you more motivated to do your job well when you enjoy being here and living here.
Great collegiate wrestler, national champion. At what point did you think you might want to be coaching the sport?
Well, I went to college and wanted to be a high school coach, and I think that derived from my high school coach. He was very influential on me, and a big reason that I moved on and wrestled in college. And so I think I kind of attached myself to him and thought, when I grow up, I want to be him. I went through college, and then as I started getting success, you know, I started thinking maybe on a little different level, and I started thinking about possibly trying to throw my hat into college coaching. And then I think the biggest probably deciding factor is when I did my student teaching my senior year in college. And it took about 2 weeks to go, I want nothing to do with kids that are 15 and 16 years old. And I knew I didn't want to be in the high school system, and Coach Smith gave me the opportunity to start coaching right out of college. And so obviously, as soon as I got involved in it, I've never thought of anything else. It's been something that I've been comfortable with and really enjoyed. And I think you got to throw your heart into something if you want to do it your best.
You mentioned Coach Smith, and I know you two have a very terrific relationship. What is it about him that motivated you, spurred you on to want to be a coach?
Well, I mean, obviously as a competitor, he was unmatched, winning 6 world and Olympic titles. And just the longer I've been around high elite level wrestling, I've just been more and more impressed and amazed with how he did it. And actually, he was, I signed at Oklahoma State, and he was still competing, and he was training for his last Olympics. And so I was kind of there watching very closely as he finished up his career. And then I think as a coach, to be able to be with him for that many years, and I went to Oklahoma State in 1992 and moved to Wyoming in 2008. So over that course of 16, 17 years, I got to see him move from a competitor to a national championship caliber coach. So I saw a lot of things in him that he changed, constantly. He was evolving as a coach and really growing. I mean, his coaching styles and the things that he learned. I think I've always been a student of the sport, and so I sat back and made mental notes and watched him grow as a coach, and I think it's been very helpful for me because I'd never been a head coach. So when I came here, I felt a lot probably like he did, just a little bit lost and out of the loop a little bit, and go, man, I've got to figure out how to learn how to do this job. And so it was kind of on the job training, and I watched him do on the job training. So, I used a lot of that as my experience.
You talked about this being a fit for your family here and how you guys have melded in. You obviously saw in this program that you talked about elite programs, and I don't know, you're a never satisfied guy, we all know that, but can Wyoming be an elite program, and is it on the way in your mind, and what needs to be done for it to be elite?
Yeah, I definitely think so, and if I didn't think so, I really don't think I would be here right now. I mean, not that 5 years is a long time, but I've been committed to this program. I've told our guys many times that I want to win here more than anything, and I feel like I could seek out other opportunities, but it's more important for me to win here because I made a commitment to come here and take this program to a special place. And I've gotten that commitment back. I've got that commitment back from our fans, from our administration, from the state of Wyoming. I feel like that the people of the state have bought into the wrestling program, and I owe it to them. So I very much feel like we can do it, or I don't think I would. I don't think I would be here. I'm too competitive. I'd have to figure out where I can do it if I didn't think I could do it here. But I know that the commitment's got to continually increase, just like anything. Our recruiting's getting better. We're making some major investments into our facilities here, and I know that those things are going to help us. I've put together a great coaching staff. I mean, just guys that work real well with me and guys that are comfortable in this system, and so I know that those things have gone to a higher level. I know our facilities are going to a higher level. Our recruiting's going to a higher level, and now I just got to remind myself to exercise a little patience because I want it today, and I'm going to work for it today, and I'm not going to wait around. But at the same time, I gotta understand the process. But I do believe we're going to be very successful here, and I think that the commitments to this program are what it's going to take. And I know we're working as hard as possibly or as humanly possible. My guys are working hard for me So everything just takes a little bit of time, and we're going to get there.
You know, that commitment certainly is the facility upgrade, and we're all excited about that. The renderings are terrific. That's really a big part of what has to happen here. I know you're excited about it.
Yeah, there's so much that it brings to us. I think it makes our kids and our fans and our alumni feel prouder to have something like this to display, but more importantly, the functionality of it. I mean, just the way that we'll be able to adjust our training and train better, train smarter, train harder. Our kids will benefit from this facilities, and it's hard for me to imagine what the benefit's going to be. Because I really think it's going to help us in so many different ways. Obviously, recruiting is the one that people from the outside point to, but as a coach, I'm thinking, you know, we're going to have more space to wrestle. We're going to have an actual dedicated cardio strength room that we will use. I mean, we will wear that floor out there. We're going to have a film room that we will use that we need. I mean, we're like, you know, we're vagabonds out there running around trying to find a place to watch films sometimes. So it's going to be easier to train our guys and to show them where they can get better and then go put it to use. So I know the effects of this facility are going to change this program forever. And it's literally a program altering commitment. And I'm so excited, and I'm excited to be a part of it. You know, I don't want to come here and just turn this program into a competitive program. I want to turn this program into something different and something that'll be remembered for years. And so it's excited to be a part of that and be in the process of helping. And there's so many people that are making this possible, and I can't thank them enough. But for me, it's a privilege to be a part of it and to watch it develop and change this program.
And now to an exciting weekend. Oklahoma State coming in on Saturday night, and it'll be a big event. Just talking with Andy and some folks, it's amazing the connection between the two programs. So many intertwining connections. Talk a little bit about that. That's got to be really cool for you.
Well, I've kind of, you know, I've stolen a little bit from Oklahoma State because I've taken some of their really quality individuals in Ethan Kyle and Chris Pendleton, Clayton Foster. Those are guys that I coached. Actually, all three of those guys I coached at Oklahoma State, and I managed to wrestle them away from Oklahoma State. And so obviously we do have a lot of ties there. We're still great friends with that staff and the people around that program, and I got a lot of love in my heart for Oklahoma State. But it's really neat that we were given the opportunity to put them on the schedule 5 years ago, and it's more special that we've been able to keep that relationship going, because, you know, I know they get hit up all the time to add teams to their schedule, and so the fact that they've stuck with us and they've come out here every other year has been a blessing to our fans and the wrestling people around the state, and to our team to be able to have that kind of competition here in Laramie, and I mean, it's great to be able to bring in amazing teams into Laramie and have our guys experience that atmosphere, and it pays off in the end. I mean, the bottom line is we want to wrestle the best so that it pays off when it counts. And that's been, I think, a big reason we've won the last 4 conference titles, and that we've had the top 25 finishes, and we've been producing All-Americans, because those guys don't get to the national tournament for the first time and see what big-time wrestling's about. They get to see it throughout the year, and Oklahoma State was my first premier team to get on the schedule, and now we've built our schedule even deeper with some high caliber teams. But I can't thank them enough, obviously, for giving us the opportunity to stay on the schedule year in and year out.
I have a feeling a lot of that's respect for you, Coach, but it is great that they come out. It's been a tough schedule. You put a very difficult schedule together. How has your team come along? How would you describe the maturation process to this point? Where are the Cowboys right now?
Yeah, I think we're in an okay position. I think as a coach, and you know me, that I'm never sitting in this point going, boy, it's gone as smooth as I had envisioned it. I have these high, lofty expectations, and I think, in my mind, I think everything's just going to go smooth and perfect. And we faced a couple of major injuries early on that crippled us a little bit, and we've been able to kind of do a little patchwork to the team and keep them going. we've got a team that's really consistent of about half freshmen and half juniors. And it's a weird mix, and you expect some growing pains with our freshmen, and I think we've seen that. And I think a lot of that has to do with the schedule and the toughness of the schedule, and that's what Tom Berman and I spoke about this morning. I said, yeah, whoever did the scheduling needs probably to get fired, but it's not ideal. But I also am not hitting the panic button because I do think it's going to be the right thing in the end. And right now it's tough because there's no break. I'd love to have a cream puff team come in to whoop up on and make our kids feel better, but that's not reality, and it's not really going to help us in the end to wrestle teams like that. What's going to help us is grinding against the best. And at the end of the, when we get through this stretch, we're going to have our head above water. We're going to be battered and bruised a little bit, but we're going to be tough. And I think we're going to lick our chops at the first chance we can whoop up on somebody. So it's a great, to me, we got to remember that and say it's a great thing and it's a positive thing, and it's setting us up to have a great finish, which is what we train for. We don't train for great starts. We train for great finishes.
Well, exciting this weekend. Everybody's looking forward to it, and we wish you the best of luck. Had a lot of good coaches around here, Coach, and you're as good as any we've ever had. So we're happy to have you, and best of luck this year.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin.
Okay, head coach Mark Branch, Cowboy wrestling coach. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time.